So first of all, we'll look into how Java and Mongo interact. So again, if you're aware of Java, this is something which will be very easy. Again, the same Mongo thing which we did, how we can interact with Java with this DB. And then we'll talk about how Node.js can interact with Mongo. Both of them pretty simple. And after we talk about that, we'll look into some of the admin features. And when I see this is relatively very easy. Some other utilities like Mongo dump, we have Mongo restore, we have Mongo stats, we have Mongo top. Some of the utilities apart from what we've already started, we'll have a look. So again, Mongo dump used to dump a database into our DB. Mongo restore, again, if you want to bring back any DB which you had already dumped, we can use the Mongo restore ability. Mongo stats is used to visualize, see the statistics, how the cluster is doing. And again, Mongo top will give me which write and read operation is actually taking a lot of time, and which of those operations which are being done very easily. So again, that is what here we'll also see some part of how the authorization, authentication, and security is something which Mongo takes care of. So I feel this will not take a lot of time, and this as well should be pretty easy to go with. So that is what the agenda for today's class will be. So again, MongoDB drivers and the client libraries. So applications communicate with MongoDB through client libraries or drivers that handle all the interactions with the database in a language that is appropriate and sensible. The following languages again can be used for the communication, again in all of them, be the JavaScript, be the Python, be the Ruby, be the Perl, be the Java, all of them can internally be used to communicate with MongoDB. So let's again see how we can actually develop a Java application with MongoDB. So again, to install the Java driver, what we can actually do, perform the following steps. Download the jar from the link given below. That is the GitHub lib from where we can download the Mongo Java driver. The step second will be, again, add the jar to your class path. The Java classes you need to use in a normal application are in the com.mongodb and again the com.mongodb.GridFS packages. So these are the two packages which you will require to again interact with the Mongo database. The jar file contains a number of other packages as well apart from these two. You need these packages only to either modify the driver's internal functionality or again extend its functionality. So again, I guess as you are pretty comfortable with Hadoop as well, similarly Hadoop has the HDFS API which it exposes, and in that what we do is we create a configuration object. In the configuration object we set the property fs.default.name, which again internally caters to the name node IP address, and then what we do is we create a file system instance object and again pass that configuration as a parameter to that. So again, in the end, the file system is able to know where the name node is running, and that is how internally HDFS API allows operations to be done on top of the Hadoop. Similarly, again, this as well is there. So again, how to connect to Mongo using the Java program. So to create a normal Java application, so again, what we need to do is we need to create a new Java project in Eclipse and add the MongoDB Java driver into its build in the class path. So again, we'll need to set the environment variables. Once that is done, the Java driver of the MongoDB provides the com.mongodb.Mongo class to connect to the MongoDB server. To establish a connection, create a new Mongo object and pass the IP address and port number of the MongoDB server as a parameter as shown in the code below. So this is something which is exactly similar to how even Hadoop used to do work. So again, you can see in the top we've imported the packages, and then I'm making a class whose name is item search. I'm trying to search for an item in the collection, and again I have my main method, and the main method what I do, I have made a Mongo client object, and what I'm doing is I'm just passing that the server details over there, that it's my system, and again the port number is 27017. After that, I'm making a DB object and again passing that test. So test is the database over here. We're passing the database as a parameter to the DB object, and after that we have a collection. We have a class called DB collection. I'm making an object of that with the names items, and I'm again just saying the db.getCollection the item. So it will connect to the test database. So again, what is happening is the first line, it's contacting with the server, which is again up on the local host 27017. After that, it is connecting with the test database. After that, it's just getting the details of the items collection in that particular database. So again, how we can, so again, what we will see is both the Java and the Node.js. So we will see how to do a CRUD operation from Java, how to do a CRUD operation from Node.js. So again, it'll include how to create a thing, how to insert things, how to update things, and again, then how to delete things from that. So let's see, how we can actually create a collection from, again, the Java program. So you can create a collection from a Java program using the createcollection method of the com.mongodb.DB class. So that's again from the package we imported. A DB object instance is created from the return object of the MongoClient.getDB method or function. So you can see in the main method, it is just explaining what actually is doing. So first of all, the Mongo client, again, I pass on the server details, that is the localhost 27017. Then I connect to the database, as I told you that I've connected to the database, which is test. And after that, I have made a object of the DB collection, and then I'm just saying db.createcollection. So this DB again has the same instance which is connecting with the MongoDB instance. .createcollection, I again pass my call is the name of the collection which I want to pass, and the second parameter I pass is null. Then again, I just write a catch function as well, which again says if again by chance it's not able to create one, it should be able to pass on the message to the terminal. So once again we have the collection created. What I can actually have a look at is how I can insert a document into a collection which I just created. So again, two things I've seen right now. First of all, again, a Mongo client, I just pass the localhost 27017. After that, what I do is I just connect to the test DB. After I connect to the test DB, I can actually look into any collection which I already have. We looked at the items, and again, if you want to create one, I can just db.createcollection, the same command which you used to use Mongo, I can use, and again make a collection of our own. So after the collection now has been made, let's see how we can actually insert documents from a Java program. So again, quite simple. So documents in Java must be instances of the org.bson.db object. A document can be created in multiple ways in Java. However, the simplest way is to create one using the com.mongodb.basic.db object class. So that's again the class already which MongoDB supports, which allows us to easily insert documents in a collection in MongoDB. So to create a document that is represented by the shell as item book, sole quantity 500, again the command which has to be used is something which you can see on the screen. I've made a basic DB object. Doc is the object of the basic DB object class. I'm initializing it. After that, I'm just doing doc.put. I'm just specifying the key value which I want in that particular collection. So again, the similar way how we used to do in Mongo, just programmatically, I'm just entering things into my collection. So insert documents using Java code example, what we just saw. So create an instance of the DB collection object by calling the getCollection method of the DB object. After that, what we need to do, create basic DB object to represent the JSON document in the Java code. Then we can do is, we can call the append method to set the values for all the fields that need to be populated. Again, we can just call the insert method of the DB collection after the basic DB object actually gets initialized. So easily we'll be able to insert documents into a collection with the help of a Java program. So the demos, I guess, what we can do is you can try that out on your end, and then actually you can get back to me and I'll be able to help you out on that, because this will actually consume a lot of time. And I guess this is pretty simple. Again, we know the concept is that we need to integrate the Java with the MongoDB. So this is, I guess, something which is definitely doable. You can try it out at your end, and I guess I'll be there at your disposal to help you if you found any problems in the same. So right now, again, just to summarize what we just did, again, I just made sure that my connection happens to the local host. I connect with the test DB. After connecting with the test DB, all I've done is I've looked for a collection, then I've created a collection, and now I've inserted into a collection using the basic DB object class given in the package. Now what I want to do, I want to update documents using the Java code. How I can look into that? So again, the way we use db.collection.create, db.collection.insert, the same manner, db.collection.update, the same thing being used over here. So the db.collection.update method is used to update an existing document in a collection. In the code given on the screen, the db cursor object is used to iterate through the list of documents in the while loop and update each document by inserting the field like with its value as 100. So again, the same way how we used to do things in a normal MongoDB command prompt, which you see over here. We have made a class by the name update documents. I have the main method over there. And again, in the try block, what I'm actually running is I've made an object of the DB collection class. Again, I just get the collection items over there. We'll get the collection items into that. Once I have the items collection with me, I'm making an object of the DB cursor, which will again return a cursor, because again, my thing is collection.find. So please, again, I hope this is something which is very easily understandable, that COLL call now has the items collection. It returns a cursor. Again, when I do a collection.find, internally what gets fired is db.items.find. And again, I told you, we already know that db.items.find will internally return a cursor, which again iterates through all the documents in a particular collection. So now cursor again has that cursor which we can iterate. Then I write the while loop, where while cursor dot has next. It means while there is a document in the collection, all I can write is, again, I make a DB object, another object by the name update document, and I just do a cursor dot next. So it moves to the first document, and there I can just write update document dot put. Again, likes is something as 100. So again, 200 will be something which will be set to the like key. And then I can do is COLL again, please remember this is the collection which is items. I can just update the collection COLL.update. I can give the first parameter as null and the second parameter as update. Null will keep whatever was earlier into the document, and the next parameter will again add whatever key values I've set into the document. Now we've seen how to create it, how to insert it, how to update it. Now again, the deleting thing, again very simple, the way we used to do it over there. Similar way, there we used to have a thing called db.items.remove. Here we have a thing called, again, collection.remove. So again, COLL again will be an object of a class, which will again get the collection. So here what we see is we have made a public class delete document. What we again do is we make a main method. In the main method, again, what we do is we have a try block. Again, the same old thing which we were doing even from the previous slides. I make a DB collection object where I get the collection. So here, please see COLL has the my call collection in it. Then I just did system.out.println collection my call selected successfully. It means I have the my call collection with me right now. Then after that, what I can do, I have made an object of DB object class. Again, what I'm doing is call.find1, get me one document in that particular collection. Once you get that, what I can do is call.remove my doc, whatever document you just got with the find one thing, it's going to remove that. And then what I can do is I can just do db cursor is equal to call.find. So it'll again get me all the records which are there in the present. So that was something using, how we can actually make, Java interact with, MongoDB, and again have the CRUD operations done. So now again, GridFS is something which we looked at, yesterday. Now again, if we want to do that, with Java, so again to store images, what we can do below is, so again, please use the code given below. Please see the code. I made a class called save image. If I want to save an image in my MongoDB using Java, what I need to do, again, I have a main function. Again, in the try block, what I have is I have connected to a Mongo system which is running on the port, which is running on the IP address 192.168.133.128. And once it is connected, again, I'm just getting the DB, which DB I need to connect to. That is the image database 1. After that, what I'm doing is, again, we can do both of these things. You can see over here, the commented things again the same thing, which it connects to the test database. It's again just gets to the image database. So both of these things, one of these objects we can make and actually get that thing done. So in this, I am connecting to the image database and I'm storing that particular thing into the test collection. So that's the collection we have got. After that, what I do is I again make a string object, new file name, give that name a GridFS Java image. Then for that, I will have to create a file as well. So again, I'm storing an image, a file has to be created by the name GridFS Java image. But again, where that file actually has to reside, it has to reside in the location which I just specified in the parameter of the file object. So again, that creates internally a photo namespace. Once that is something which is done, how to create a photo namespace is something which will, the below commands will actually guide us how to make a photo namespace. So that is done by again using the GridFS class. So that's again the GridFS API which it exposes. I'll use the GridFS class. I make an object of that is GFS photo. Again, the parameter I just passed the DB. So DB is coming from the top, you see, image database 1, and again the photo. So photo is something, the new namespace which I will be generating, where the photos will get stored. Then again, we have a class in the GridFS API by the name GridFS input file. I again create an object of it. And again, I create a file, and in that file, I gave the parameter image file. You can see image file in the top, where it is again given the parameter C butterfly JPG. That here I want to create a file. So here the file will get created, and after that, once it is created, the same object GFS file, I'm just setting the file name as the file name which is specified over there, which is GridFS Java image. So a new file will be generated with the name as GridFS Java image. After that, what I can do is I can just save the image file into MongoDB by writing the command, invoking the function save, which is again given in the GridFS API. So GFS file that save ultimately will save that image of whatever thing I want to store into my photo namespace in the text collection in the image database 1. So again, once I've stored my things into the GridFS using GridFS API, how I can actually retrieve those images back. So to retrieve DB cursor objects having reference to the file stored in GridFS, we can use the code below. So what I do is, again, I make a cursor object of a DB cursor class. What I do is, I do a GFS photo.getFileList. It's going to return a cursor. So now my cursor CUR has again the list of all the files I have. What I do is I just iterate through the while loop. While cursor.hasNext, please keep on printing out the cursor.next. Again, I'll keep on getting the images from my GridFS right there into my screen. So after that, again, GridFS DB file image for output is equal to GFS photo.find1, again the new file name. So again, just before what the file we have stored in our collection, that was again by the name. So again, the same file if I want to retrieve, again what I've done is I'm just invoking the function find1, and in the find1 I'm just passing the file name which properly I would specifically search for. So that's how I'm going to retrieve any images using the GridFS API in MongoDB. So again, I've saved an image, I have retrieved an image. Again, how to remove an image. Again, the same way they used to have, our command prompt used to have a remove method. The Java normally used to have a remove method. Similarly, GridFS API provides a remove method. All I have to do is, again, GFS photo.remove. Again, just give that specific, find1, again, pass the parameter which particular image you would want to delete, and that file internally will be deleted from the GridFS. So that was something about how again Mongo would connect to Java. Just to again rephrase what I just said. So again, Java and Mongo, how will they interact? All you need to do is just download the jar, which again is the Mongo Java driver. Once I have done that, all I need to do is again simple things. First thing is again how particularly we can create a collection in Java. We could easily see that in the Mongo client thing. We pass the localhost 37017, that is the port number. After that, we connect it to the test. The moment we are into the DB, I can use get collection to get whichever collection. So .get collection is the method I can use to retrieve whichever collection is in my particular DB. Then we looked at creating a collection using .create collection method. Then we updated a collection using again a DB basic object. We create an object of that, and with the help of .put function. So again, something programmatically was very easy. So we set the keys and values to some particular document. So again, the syntax again was .update document. And then we thought of, how can we remove it, .remove. And then what we saw was, if we want to store something using the GridFS API, some image or some video into the Mongo, again, how we can do that. So Demale, if this is something which is fine with you, a smiley from your side will communicate to me that we are good with this, and we can move to the next thing, which is Node.js, which is even simpler than what we just saw now. So Node.js will be something which will be pretty similar to even what we do on the command prompt. So let's move further to how Node.js can actually be interacted with the Mongo database. So again, to work with the database, first create a collection. So again, the same old story will again you will see again, but even with more easy because the syntax over here again is more or less in the same lines as what we did on the command prompt. Okay, so I get that. So you have experience in MySQL and MS SQL, so it makes all the sense to make a switch on Mongo because having an experience in the relational database is definitely give an advantage because you already understand how the relational world works. And again, now with this on top of that, that definitely is like, the best of both the worlds. So I guess that should be fine. So to work with the database, first create a connection. So you can use MongoDB's native Node.js driver to create a connection with the MongoDB server. To install the MongoDB native drivers, first install the MongoDB module by using the npm command, run the command given below. So npm basically is the package which Node.js gives, which internally allows all the classes to be used inside Mongo. So what I do is npm install MongoDB. So nps is a package manager that provides a central repository for all the custom open source modules for the Node.js and the JavaScript. So I install this package manager, which will gonna help me install all the packages, which again come as modules for the Node.js and the JavaScript inside that. Once that is done, so again what npm is, npm helps manage modules, their versions, their distributions easily. The npm install command is used to install the required module in a project. So again, to work with the database, first create a connection. You can use, so again, this is something which we did. Let's move to the next slide. Yeah. So step one is again, load the MongoDB module using the code given below. So again, what I do is, let's require import the MongoDB native drivers. So what I do is, where MongoDB is, it will require MongoDB. So again, I'm just requesting or importing all the MongoDB native drivers from the npm over here. So once that is done, define the URL you need to connect to. So again, I just specify where URL is equal to, MongoDB is running on which particular server. I specify its localhost 27017 and the DB I want to connect to is test. Step 3 is again connect to the DB. Use the Mongo client's interface connect method to connect to the database. So again, Mongo client's interface has a connect method which I can use, which I'm using over here. And again, the same old story, the URL. There again, I used to pass a Mongo client object, which again had the same thing. Here, I'm just passing that URL, which again now has the server details where it is running to the parameter. And along with that, it passes a function. And what it passes in the function, first parameter is error, and the second parameter is DB. So again, you will see the function which it returns over here. The first parameter always will be an error, and the second parameter always will be the actual thing which I will get, and that will return to the object. So how we can actually do an insert operation using Node.js? So after you have a DB connection ready, you can communicate with the database and perform some basic operations on the Mongo database. When using the MongoDB native driver, you need to ensure that the query function names and the parameters are similar to that of the native MongoDB commands. The query functions take the callback as the last argument. This is something which is important. I just told you just moments back. The query functions take the callback as the last argument. The callback function returns the first argument as an error, and the second argument is a result. So whatever result is, that will be in the second argument. The result is actually the output or the result provided by MongoDB on running these commands. This is something how the insert will happen. To create an items collection and save a few items in it, use the code given below. So again, this has two things. One is the create collection, and then is the insert collection. So you can see where collection is equal to db.collection. That is items. So we get the items collection over here. Again, how to create some more users inside that. Again, I just need to, so this is again like the normal JavaScript. So again, where item 1 is equal to, I specify the document, item is book, sold quantity is 500. Similarly, I added some 3 items. Again, these are variables. Again, how to insert them into the collection. All I can do is collection.insert. So again, this collection, please see, this where collection is actually this object over here, this variable over here. Collection.insert, I specify these over here. And again, the second parameter, again, the function, which again has 2 parameters. One is the error and second is the result, which is again will be the insertion of all of these 3 items into my items collection. So in the insert operation, you perform the following steps, what we have just done. I use the db.collection method to get the collection, prepare data to be inserted, that is the variables which I've created, which will be inserted, and then I just insert them into the database. So that was how the insertion used to happen. Now again, insertion is done. How we can actually update it? So update is again simple. Dot update is the thing. And again, one more thing you will see very similar over here. This is exactly the same how the command prompt used to work. So you can update records using the collection.update method. The name and parameters of the update method are similar to that of native MongoDB queries. The code given below updates the document from Node.js. So how to get the collection document? So again, this is something which we just saw in the previous slide. var collection is equal to db.collection items. So here my collection variable has now the items collection. Then what I do is insert some users. So again, I'm doing collection dot update. Again, update that document whose item is pencil. And again, as you can see, I can use the $set variable the same way. I can use this $set operator in the native MongoDB query. And again, I'm saying update that document whose item is pencil. And again, what you need to do is set its availability to false. So again, the second parameter is function, which again has two parameters. First is an error, and the second is actually the num, which actually got updated. So then what I'm doing is, if again, what I actually return is error. If the function what it returns is error, so what you do is console.log, whatever error comes, you just send it to the console, which is again I should see that error on the screen. If that is not the case, else if num updated, or if it returns is something which is num updated, what you need to do, you can print it on the log that updated successfully, as many documents as many would have got done. And again, if that also doesn't happen, what you need to do is you need to put it like, I couldn't find a document with the actually find criteria, that is any item which has the item as pencil. Exactly the same way how we used to do in native MongoDB query. So again, how to retrieve the documents using Node.js. So again, to retrieve the documents from the MongoDB, trigger the find command on the collection object just as in the MongoDB shell. So again, what we have done is, first of all, get the documents collection. So you can see var collection is equal to db.collection items. So here the collection variable has the items collection. And now what I'm doing is I'm just trying to find records which again have some things. So again, the way I used to do over there, db.orders.find. I used to specify some parameters inside. Same thing I'm doing instead of the db, which again used to connect to the MongoDB instance. I'm using here collection, which internally anyways it's connecting with the db. So collection.find, item is pencil, .toArray. So .toArray is something which is exactly same as .pretty. You used to do a .pretty to see a pretty result. Instead of .pretty, you can also use a .toArray. Both of them will do the same thing. The difference between .toArray and pretty is .toArray will bring all the data into the memory and then show. So it's recommended you always do pretty instead of actually a toArray. Again, it returns two things. First parameter is error or the result. So again, if it's an error, give the error to the console. If again it's actually the result, again output it the result along with output the found along with whatever results we have actually got. And again, if that also doesn't happen, you can just give out in the console that I couldn't find any document which had the criteria which is specified in the find function. Again, how I can actually retrieve documents using a DB cursor. This we again retrieve just by using a simple collection.find method. Again, if I have to use it using a cursor, what I can do is you can use the DB cursor instead of each document, or use toArray to return the full array of all the documents. Here what I'm doing is, again, var collection is equal to db.collection items. My collection variable has the items collection right now. Now what I do is variable cursor is equal to collection.find item is book. Every find function returns a cursor. So here that cursor is with cursor. Then what I'm doing is, again, I'm sorting the cursor in a reverse order of item. Again, I'm limiting the results to 10. And I'm skipping 0 results. It means I just want the results to be shown from number 1. So again, now the cursor is with me. I need to iterate on the result which I get. So what I can do is cursor.each. Again, I can give the function error comma doc. So again, I can just do is, again, if we get an error, console printed the error. And again, if that doesn't happen, what you do is on the console, you can print it out. Whatever fetched is something which will be printed as such, along with doc. So doc will be something, the document which we would have retrieved after the cursor would have gone through the full collection. So that's how, again, if I want to use a cursor to get the documents, this is the way which I can follow. So that what we saw was, we saw again MongoDB with Node.js, again a different approach, the same way how Java did it, but again the syntax would vary here there. So now again there is a very good module inside Node.js as well, which is Mongoose. So what Mongoose helps us do, Mongoose helps us, design the schema in MongoDB. So we'll just see, how Mongoose helps us design the schema in Mongo. So Mongoose.js is a popular library in Node.js that provides a straightforward, schema-based solution to model your application data and includes built-in typecasting, validation, query building, and business logic hooks. Using the Mongoose interface features such as automatic connection and a collection pool management, we can easily work with MongoDB. To work with Mongoose, you need to first install the Mongoose module. So again, all I can do is the way I ran npm install MongoDB. Similarly, npm install Mongoose will help us install the Mongoose module. Once the Mongoose module is up and running, I can set the schema like this. So in the code, you are doing the following things. What you're doing is connecting to the database using the mongoose.connect. So again, I was connecting over there with mongo.connect. Here I'm using the Mongoose module to actually connect to my database. And then what I'm doing is creating a model using the mongoose.model. So again, two methods, mongoose.connect and mongoose.model. Let's see, how the code does it. So again, how to load the Mongoose module in our program. So again, please again correlate with what we studied. Earlier we used to write where MongoDB is equal to require MongoDB. I actually loaded the MongoDB module. Now because I need to load the Mongoose module, I write where Mongoose is equal to require Mongoose. It'll actually load the Mongoose module in our program. Once that is done, we'll connect to the database using the DB server URL. So again, I get mongoose.connect. This is the URL, the server URL, which we used to specify in the Node.js as well. That okay, localhost or whatever 27017. Again, this DB I want to specifically connect to. Once we have connected to the DB as well, we need to define our model for user entity. So user over here, you look at user as a collection. So the way I design a schema for a table, here I will design a schema for a collection. So let's define our model for user entity. This model represents a collection in the database. So we define the possible schema of user document and data types of each field. So again, as you can see over here, where user is equal to mongoose.model. Again, user is something which is of a collection. And again, how the documents in my collection is going to look like. See, the name is string, roles is array, age is number. So it will even allow us to store some relational information as well into my DB. This is something which I remember, I guess, I don't know whether you asked it or someone else asked this, that, whether we really need to set some, whether we need to tell our Mongo that this thing particular which I'm giving is a string or an integer or something else. So that is something which I can definitely do over here. Over then, let's create a new user. So again, how we create a new user. So where user was is equal to new user. And again, what I just did was I did the same thing, use this schema and again give name as modulus admin, age is 42. And again, the roles he has is he's admin, he's a moderator and a user. Once that is something which is done, I can easily add that into my collection. So create a new, so you perform the following action using the code given below. Create a new user object. So you can create as many user objects using the model as desired and modify them. So this user object, see, each object will represent document in the database. Please see this user object, whichever I have created. What is this? This is one document. And it says, so again, see, what will happen is, so Simplilearn only gives you Node.js and Java. Suppose you want to do it with Python. What they will say? No, I don't know Python, I don't. So, okay, you don't know even Node.js. So look at, the similarities between being done all over. Things here, things there will change in the syntax, but the crux will remain the same. The object user one over here, what is actually this? This is an object. And again, same thing is saying is, so you can create as many user objects, means you can create as many collections, as many documents in a collection. And again, each document, each object will represent document in the DB. That's something which I guess is pretty easy and straightforward. Then what I can do is, so I've kept on adding these user objects. Now I need to really save this user using the same method as well. The way I used to have a save and an insert method in the normal native MongoDB querying, same way we have it over here as well. So save the user using the same method. The Mongoose model has many methods available on the entity objects. In this case, you will use the same method to save the document in the database. So again, what we do is, so user1.name is equal to user1.name.to uppercase. That means all I'm doing is I'm trying to update the document which I already had. I had a user one, so again I'm just checking that can you please convert the name into uppercase. Once again I've done that, I want to see whether the output is correct or not. All I do is console.log user1. So in Java I used to do system.out.println. In C I used to do printf. In Python I used to do print. In Node.js I use console.log. So these are the syntax changes. Basically I'm just outputting user1. I should see the updated result. Once that happens, let's save it. User1.save. Again, the function will return two things: error or the user object. If we get an error, print out that error. If we get the user object, again, write it, save successfully, and give the user object over there. That's how, again, I'm going to define a schema using Mongoose. That's how I'm going to insert, update some documents using Mongoose.